Once again, welcome to my YouTube channel, Maths with Ease by Mr. Kamotho. And in the very first video of this topic, which is Algebra 7, I chose to explain the general quadratic equation. And any question or any equation that qualifies to be a quadratic equation must be having the feature of x squared. That x squared, of course, a general quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equals to 0. Let me explain. This is the term that makes this equation quadratic. If that term is not there or it does not exist, then the equation will not be quadratic. Because for it to be quadratic, the variable x has to be squared. The rest of the terms are not mandatory, and we are going to find examples on this. So the general quadratic equation must have the feature ax squared. Now, a is a coefficient of x squared, a whole number plus or minus that is in front of x squared, which is not 0. And for this particular term to exist, a must never be equals to 0. Because if a is 0, then the whole of term 1 ceases to exist because it will be nullified to 0. If a is 0, then term 1 is 0. And if term 1 is 0, then there exists not x squared. What we remain with is simply a linear equation in terms of bx plus c, which is equals to 0. Yes, it is an equation, but it is not quadratic due to the fact that there is no term 1. This is the only feature that makes this equation quadratic. Without this one, then we do not have a quadratic equation. Of course, a is a constant, b is a constant, and c is a constant, and x is the only variable. But I want to say something here. Anytime you want to solve quadratic equation, it is important that you write it in this general format. The first term is going to have x squared, the second term is going to have x, and the third term is going to have a constant, and then equals to 0. Always try to leave 0 on the right hand side so that you can actually solve any quadratic equation. And I said term 2 is not a must that it exists. Term 3 is not a must that it exists. But term 1, whereby a is not supposed to be 0, it has to exist for it to qualify to be a quadratic equation. You'll find an example of quadratic equation is you can have 2x squared plus 4x plus 5 is equals to 0. That is a quadratic equation. We will have several more, but let us just understand that quadratic equation is generally due to the existence of ax squared. Thank you.